was so excited. Was excited at the football game. I was a referee. Yeah. So actually, from now on, I'm very excited to learn about more about the best solution of this factory, and I believe that startups making a great contribution to the AI for sustainable development. So ITU want to help those startups to grow and achieve maximum potential. So I'd like to thank everyone working on this factory. So yeah. Oh yeah. Then now I'd like to. It's my great honor to welcome. Hi. Her Royal Highness, Princess Beatrice. Please welcome. Thank you.
I heard the football match was a great success, especially with your amazing referee skills. Yeah. Perfect. Is this right? Perfect. I'm so excited to be on this stage. I don't know if you heard earlier, but I'm an incredibly passionate individual when it comes to the opportunities that intelligence can change the world. When I think about the opportunities for the SDGs, I'm so thrilled that we are refocused and re-challenging ourselves for the next 10 years. But at the heart of that is innovation. Over the last year, we've seen, and there's some of the most incredible companies that the ITU is thrilled to support. As you said, it is a collective effort now. None of us can sit back and say that we didn't know what tools we needed to change the world. The tools, the options, the community, the sense of collaboration is there, and the energy is really with us. I think we've seen across the board today in this incredible AI for Good Summit just how important it is that we're thinking about innovation across the board. A moment like this is a wonderful time to celebrate innovation. Some of the solutions that you'll see tonight are really, really going to be able to move the SDGs forward, and I'm thrilled to be able to support every single one of them. I'm sure it's going to be an intense pitching competition when we see the finalists, but I really want to wish them really well, and thank you so much for being a part of today, for being a part of the Innovation Factory, and of course the ITU and AI for Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness, for those comments. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So before we get started on that startup competition, I first want to welcome tonight's sponsor of the event, who is Mathieu Marcotte of CIMIR, who will say a few words.
Thank you. All right. I know it's a very tough place to be. I mean, I'm standing between you and your drinks, but keep in mind that I'm also standing between myself and my drink. So, all right. Well, as we mentioned earlier on stage, so CIMIA is an international organization supported by the Government of Canada, and we're one of the 3 expert centers of the Global Partnership on AI, so GPA. And our mission is to develop and implement high-impact, applied, responsible AI solutions. And we do that, is there a clicker? Or should I? All right. So we do that by partnering with international organizations, with governments. So within GPA, with GPA, we work with 29 governments, a group of 150-ish international multi-stakeholder experts. And we try to address real concrete problems and find applied responsible AI solution to it. So yeah, let's go over that. Already told you that. All right. So to give you an idea of our portfolio of projects, we're working on a lot of different things. So from pandemic resilience to digital ecosystems to how can governments be a producer of AI for responsible and AI for good solutions, but also on things like data justice. So how to, for legislators, how to include the principles of data justice in their legislations and their data access challenges. We're also like developing innovation workshops when we work with governments to identify solutions for them and to try to develop them. But part of our strategy is also to include the voice, to help include the voice of the, I hate using that term, but you'll understand, the global south or developing countries in the global AI discussion, because it's been really a north or western or developed country discussion so far. So our role is really to open doors. So we work with researchers from Africa at the moment to develop our African strategy, but I hope we can expand that to other regions as well. One of the things we published at the beginning of this year was a comparative framework for AI legislations. We did it, the first version, with 5 different countries, and now we're launching the second phase with 5 new different countries. So 10 now different approaches to AI legislation. And I invite you to scan the QR code if you're interested in attending the launch meeting, where there's going to be a team discussion with the experts that participated in both the first version of the report and that second version. So, as I was mentioning, this is what we do at CEMIA, and we try to find concrete solutions in an agile structure where we really have a startup mindset. And one of the things we're trying really hard to do is the last point, so develop new models of collaboration and funding. Because as I mentioned earlier, developing responsible AI solution and impactful solution requires a lot of money. So today, I'm pretty happy and glad to announce that we're creating a responsible AI impact fund, because we want to accelerate the beneficial and responsible use of AI for a better future. And why do we do that? Because we know that the next big shift in AI in the industry is going to be responsible and safe AI. And why do we know that? Because that's the only way to do AI that will stand the test of time, regulation, and the issue of trustworthiness. So if companies that will have adopted a responsible AI stance from the get-go will have a very strong business advantage over their competitors. So what is the Responsible AI Fund? Well, it's the first global fund to exclusively invest in responsible AI companies that can scale up solutions for humanity's biggest problem and accelerate the SDGs. So yeah, I mentioned that we're prioritizing safety, ethics, alignment with human value, and that's the important part, because the idea behind the fund is really to invest in quality of life. I mean, so far, if we take generative AI as an example, there's not much of a business case, but what we're interested in is identifying the right solution that will improve our life in education, workspace, health, governance as well. So really, how can we have a positive impact? How can those solutions have a positive impact on communities and on the planet? And I want to give you an idea, a really good tweet from a writer that kind of summarized that idea. We want AI that can do our laundry and make our life better, and not AI that can draw for us or write for us. We want to spend more time as humans on what we're good at and what we like to do. So yeah, we've assembled a world-class team of award-winning scientists. That some of them are in the room at the moment, and so we have that unique thesis of funding really interesting solution in a growing market. So we want the Responsible AI Fund to be at the forefront of the next big revolution of AI. That's where we're positioning ourselves. Because we want to go beyond impact investment. We want to be impact creators. And I invite you all to be part of this revolution. So you can talk with us today. Sadly, Sophie couldn't make it for family urgencies, but Amer and I are more than happy to answer any of your questions tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mathieu, for that presentation. So before we introduce our first startup, I want to talk about the rules of the game. So each startup will have just 4 minutes to present their pitch, followed by 8 minutes of questions. I want to introduce our judges quickly, who are going to decide on today's winner. We have Heidi Bianca Roddenberry of the Roddenberry Foundation, Stephen Ibaraki, Chairman of EDDS Capital, Cesar Ono, already introduced you, and Oriki Tagisha, Chief Innovation Officer at KUKA.
Give a quick round of applause for our judges. Thank you so much for being here today. You know, Pascal, this is the big event. These entrepreneurs have been pitching for months to get to this point, and I'm really excited to hear what they're working on. Whether they know it or not, some of the speakers earlier today have been foreshadowing this big competition. Secretary General Guterres earlier said he believes AI can supercharge the SDGs. And the Secretary General of the ITU followed up that and said she wishes that AI will save the SDGs. Who here believes AI can supercharge the SDGs? Do a little better than that. Who thinks AI can supercharge the SDGs? Woo! Who thinks AI can save the SDGs? Whether it's supercharging or saving, I think there's no doubt that there's significant positive potential when it comes to AI and impact. And I'm really excited again to hear these entrepreneurs. Will you introduce our first business?
Absolutely. So first we have Bionics, Anas Niaz, who will come to the stage. Sorry, just a technical
Yeah.
problem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the story starts from Ikra. She's 5 years old and she met a tragic car accident in which she lost not only her baby brother but also her arm. She felt really sad because she couldn't get her writing done, and she left the school, and that was the only reason that she felt that all her dreams are crushed. Her parents tried really hard to find a solution for her, but they found out that getting a prosthetic arm is not an easy task. It requires her to travel 2,000 kilometers if she wants to get a prosthetic. And the major challenge is the cost is really high, the same as the house that they are living in. They also found out that if Ikra would have lost her arm from her shoulder, she had to go through a surgery which cost around 20,000 euros alone. And since Ikra was only 5 years old, she had to wait 8 years to able to get a prosthetic arm. This is not a problem just for the Ikra. It's the problem of 100 million people around the world. The unavailability of a technology, the high cost, and the limited amount of technical staff available in the world who can make and deliver bionic arms are limited. If you make a human chain of amputees around the world, it will go 5 times a chain. And there is always one amputation every second that is going on in this world. So what options the Ikra had? So one option was she was given to get a mechanical bionic arm, and that is the World War II technology. It weighs around 2 kgs, and you have to wear the harness, and they do not function very well. It's just for the cosmetic purpose, and you cannot pretty much do anything. So imagine hanging your weight and not able to do just to see yourself as a complete person. So that was the moment that Ikra decided to leave the school, go out of the education, and this is how Bionics was rescuing her. We made a cost-effective bionic arm, which is sweat-proof and waterproof sensors so that Ikra can use it effectively. No surgical intervention required, and the best part is, no matter where she's from, she just needs a mobile device to scan her limb and send us, and we can ship the bionic arm to her. It's a circular product. We don't waste anything. So when the kid grows up, so we just have to switch the bionic arms, and troubleshooting can be done remotely, wherever you are from. So it's 100% customizable, and it's offer the range for every ages. So the technology is very simple. You can use a mobile device, send us a 3D scan, and we can ship and manufacture the prosthetic arm according to your size and ship it to your home. All you need, without any technician, just wear the arm and connect it once with our Bionic app, and it will function. So these are different models that we are offering right now. We have above elbow prosthetic arms without any surgery. We have black eyes, so we feel that people should be proud of. And then we have Zindagi 2.0, which means second life, and superhero arms so that they feel more empowered. And the weight and the quality is, of course, here. So what is the impact that we are able to generate? After giving 700 people bionic arms, they're almost generating $65,000 annually. We are able to prevent carbon footprint around 138 tons. The hours of our users have been used around 2.62 millions, and the life impacted around 2,400 of their families.
It's time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Give him a big round of applause. Let's stay. We can stay here.
Yeah.
Great job, and you're doing incredible work. I had no idea that if you linked all amputees together that it would wrap around the earth 5 times. That's an incredible amount of people that stand to benefit from what you're building. Now we'll have 8 minutes of questions from our judges. Whichever judge would like to start first. Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Okay. Thank you for your presentation. I understand that your solution is excellent. But I'd like to know what is the key technology to achieve your final product,
So
and also what AI, how AI can helps your solution.
So the best, how we are able to use the AI in this is like when the person loses his arm, they have the different patterns of muscles. So we build a prosthetic which has embedded sensors inside, and when the person wears it, it detects the signals coming from your brain to your muscles, and eventually it improves with machine learning. So with time she's using it, it's also improving, and it both ways, the human is also learning and the machine is also learning.
But your solution is not just how to say such active solution. I mean you can use some feedback from she or he movement support.
No, so our users are able to teach 200 people with just one arm. Our users are able to do farming with the bionic arm. So it's more kind of a technology that is durable and scalable because we are using the other algorithms. And our users are also able to learn to play guitar with the bionic arm as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Then I would like to, I have actually 2 questions. One is, why has no one else done that before? I mean, if it sounds so easy, and why were there prosthetics with surgeries? I mean, that's one question I have. So, and against who do you compete? That's one thing. And what is your price? I mean, you told us the price of a surgery and the costs.
Yeah. So the prosthetic that the industry is mostly designed in a cold weather environments. So that's why there's no company available targeting sweat proofing and waterproofing. That's why they are not available there. And the major challenge that they are facing is they use different muscle sensors, and we have our own sweat proof and waterproof sensors to able to detect the signals from the kids. And apart from that, the cost, we are selling this prosthetic in $2,000, whereas this same prosthetic costs around $10,000 in elsewhere in the world.
So what's your revenue traction, and what's your prediction, let's say in the next year and then 2 years, and what's your targeted break-even point? Where are you in the fundraising side, and what's the kind of growth trajectory that you're seeing in the adoption of your tech?
So till date, we have all been bootstrapped without a zero amount of funding. And because we have been partnered with NGOs as well as the government organization, so we have a revenue of around $700,000, and we have a pre-order of 200 bionic arms. So it's probably will hit around 1.5 million revenue this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to know more about your team. Who is doing that with you, and what are your backgrounds and capabilities?
So I'm a mechatronics engineer, as well as my co-founder is also a mechatronics engineer. We started when we were in university, and after that we built a team of data scientists, engineers, as well as marketing departments, so that we can, we can take this further and make it as a brand.
Then how many people are there?
So we are 26 people. The team is 26 people.
You have already kind of a prototype. Not yet, or just after funding, you will produce your product.
No, so actually we are already providing these products almost 700 users are right now using it. And so now we are at the growth stage where we are finding investors through which we can expand the solution globally.
So which partners are you working with currently globally? Or, I mean, do you have, what is your sort of go-to-market strategy in terms of partnerships and getting scaling of the adoption of this?
So we are looking for the distributors who are providing medical devices in different regions, because they do understand the regulations and all. So we are trying to find partners in Ukraine, in Gaza, and all those war zones where people need this technology most.
And I am curious to hear about your technology. Are you finding any problems, any failure rates, or... And then from a company standpoint, what's the biggest hurdle that you're facing?
So the biggest hurdle is to get the funding and scale this technology, because it's been almost 8 years since we are doing research and development, and all the users that are using our prosthetic arm, they are also part of our innovation. So they give us tough time because it's the only thing that they can use right now. So they specifically ask for features that they will feel more ease of. And the most challenging part is because we don't have any competitors there. So the only competition is a real hand. So they see us close to it. So that's why they push us a lot towards to able to achieve something through which they can do almost everything.
So I don't think in your deck you had a competitive analysis, right, of the landscape and who are potentially competitors in your marketplace?
Yes, but I can name few, just like Autobock, based out of Germany, Open Bionics, and there are a lot of competitors. But the problem is the process that they use is still required a technician, and you have to go to the clinic to able to get a prosthetic arm. That's why 80% people do not have access to it.
What of your connections to the SDGs? I saw that because you've got carbon offsets, or no, not offsets.
Yep.
You're just not contributing.
Prevention.
Could you explain more about the SDG connection?
Yeah, so we don't, when we produce these bionic limbs, it's recyclable, as well as it does not require to change the whole arm. You can change few parts, as well as, for example, people do not have to travel to it, so that's why they are able to save the carbon, as well as like people, when they get the bionic arm, they go back to their work, and they are able to generate economic, so it's no poverty is connected to that. And our SDG 13 is because we are focusing main onto the development of the technology which can actually change the whole industry.
I have a last question. Are there any security risks or data risks to your product?
So the best part is we only collect the data which is essential for our training our module. For example, we know that how much hard object or soft object somebody is picking, but we don't know exactly what type of object they are picking. So it improves with time that the lifestyle of a person, so that we can change the algorithms.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The question to the organizer. This session is just SDGs, but only for the climate change?
Oh, it only
focus.
says climate?
Climate change.
Okay.
Only. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Question.
Well,
This is question.
yeah, well,
Are we open to all SDGs?
All
I think
SDGs
we
or-
should be. I'll,
Let's check with the
yeah.
organizers.
I think climate is just an example, right? I think
I would think so, but we will double check for you
in
and get back
prior
to you.
years, it's been applicable to all of the SDGs, and I think this is just an example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be difficult.
Says the other the other competitor.
yeah, so if climate is there, it's just an example of what you can input, and you want to make sure that you check one of those boxes for the SDG.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to judge on just that.
Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of climate, our next startup is FinApp, who is using cosmic rays to measure water. Please welcome to the stage Angelo Amicarelli. Hope I pronounced that right. The stage is yours.
Here is my baby. Thank you. So, good evening, everybody, and thanks a lot for being here tonight. And I'm Angelo Micarelli. I'm a co-founder and chief marketing officer of FinApp. To going forward, like this. Sorry. Okay. Very well. So FinApp stands for Applied Nuclear Physics in Italian language, and we use cosmic ray to measure water. I know that sounds a little bit strange, but later on I'm going to explain you how it works. We have set ourselves a really ambitious goal, that is to preserve life on Earth by saving water. And to make it real, we put our knowledge in particle of physics to improve the sustainability for community and for environment. So here, as promised, I'm going to explain you really quickly how it works. So the cosmic radiation hits the Earth atmosphere and generate a cascade of several particles, including neutrons, that you can see here with this green arrow. So neutrons have this great feature to interact mainly with water molecules. So part of these neutrons will be absorbed by the water molecules within the soil, and part will be reflected again into the atmosphere. Here is represented with this blue semicircle. So knowing the difference in counting between the green neutrons and the blue neutrons, we know how much water we have around our probe that you can see here on the stage with me. And so this is the CRNS, Cosmic Ray Neutron Sensing Technology, that with one single probe allows you to know the soil moisture on a large scale, 5 hectares, and deep into the soil, half of a meter. So we are not just measuring the soil moisture. We have done the first site-specific soil moisture forecast. And in principle, it's quite easy. We have input data, that is the soil moisture that we are measuring with our probes, plus weather data, and here comes the artificial intelligence. So we are able to recreate a model that explains the soil moisture behavior of your sites, thanks to the AI. So we put on top of it the weather forecast, and so we are able to predict the future value of the soil moisture for the next 5-7 days. So now with this knowledge, we apply it to agriculture, to precision agriculture, to improve the irrigation strategy. And the aim is to give our contribution to achieve the zero hunger goal. And we can do it because we have a less water consumption. That also means less CO2 emission, and at the same time, an increase of crop yield thanks to the unique knowledge of the soil moisture that we have. But not only agriculture, we apply the same kind of technology to have the first early warning that is site-specific for landslide, floods, and wildfire. And all of these to increase the resilience to climate change for SDG 13 and reduce the impact on society as SDG 11. And we have a common hardware that is the same for the 4 verticals that you can see here, and we have specific post-processing for each of these verticals. We are a startup born in 2019 in Padua, close to Venice in Italy. We have a growing turnover, we have customers in 5 continents, and we have already raised 1.4 million in private investment, and we won the EIC Accelerator. So this is FinUp. Thanks a lot for your attention. FinUp, live from Cosmos. Thank you.
Well, great job, and I can't believe that you have customers on 5 continents. That's incredible, incredible scale for your solution.
Thanks.
Let's now go to our judges for questions.
You got annual repeat revenue. It looked like it was over $1 million.
Yeah, last year we had like close to 1 million, and we forecast 2 million for this year.
2 million this year,
Yep.
and your technology, I believe it's pretty unique, or are there competitors who are using it? And why are you better? It's because of the depth
Yep.
that you can measure moisture and so on?
We have two kind of competitors. One is like the traditional way to measure soil moisture that is made with point scale instrumentation that have to be digging into the soil, or satellite. But we have this capability to measure on a large scale, deep into the soil and in real time. None of this technology have all these 3 features together. And there are other, maybe 3 or 4 manufacturers of this kind of probes, but our probes is already patented worldwide, and is unique because it's like 10 times smaller, lighter, is like 2 times cheaper, and is the only one who can make the validation of the soil moisture data in real time and in situ.
I have a question. How much does it cost, and how does your go-to-market strategy look like? Do you expect every farmer to buy one of your probes?
No, absolutely not. It costs like 8K euros, or you can rent it for 2.5K per year. We also supply irrigation advice that goes straight to the point. How much water and when to irrigate. And this is a service with a subscription fee on a yearly base. And because of the cost of this is not for all the farmers worldwide. We are really focused in decreasing the costs. And one of the goals of the EIC Accelerator that we won last year is to reduce by a factor 2 the cost of the hardware to make this technology available to as much farmer as possible, but still will not be possible to serve 100% of the farmer, because the cost of this kind of technology is not for everyone.
Thank you, Angelo. A question that I have is, could you speak to any partnerships that you have? Because I wonder if that helps you get to more farmers or municipalities potentially.
Yeah, also answering about the go-to-market strategy. Yeah, basically, we already have agreement with big manufacturer of hardware in agriculture, like international company that are based both in US or in Japan. I don't name it, but okay. And the idea is that if you go to a farmer that is already okay with spending a lot of money for hardware that is capable to improve the efficiency of the farm, then this is just like a small optional on top of it that can really make the difference, especially when we talk about irrigation with variable rate, in which you really exploit the maximum of the technology that is available on the market right now. So the extra cost in that case is just a really, really small percentage. So you change the point of view.
Just you said that you are selling your solution one by one, farmers one by one, or
No, we generally speaking we don't sell like one by one. We do partnership with like big manufacturer company, and so we are able to scale quickly
that is-
thanks to this partnership.
but in Japan there is some group of farmers. I don't know the how to say it in English, but kind of
Consortium.
association.
Yeah.
So you can sell that such group, farmers group, but that it's not your business cases.
Well, actually, we are already doing it, but just in Italy because of logistic reason. For us, it's easier to start from our home country, and we do like this for apple growers in the Alps, and also for winery that makes spumante, that is the Italian version of champagne, also in the Alps. So we are already selling to this consortium of farmers, but it's just a few percentage of the selling.
Are there certain crop types for which it makes more sense than for others?
From a technical point of view, no, because these neutrons are so nice that we cannot mess up if the signal comes from the soil or from the biomass, because they have two different spectrums, so it doesn't matter what are you growing. Then from an economical point of view, clearly, if you're growing something with a great added value, like fruits or like tobacco, then make more sense. But from a technical point of view, it doesn't matter.
I meant the economical one. Do you have a target region or target market where you want to dig deeper, or are you trying to reach everybody no matter what they produce and where they are?
So the question was, there is a region in the world that we are more focused on.
A region and a target customer, let's say that.
Well, the target customer is basically the big farm that they have a really huge extension of crop, because this kind of technology is perfect for large scale. And because of this, we are targeting more US and Brazil, because the average size of the plot of the farms is bigger compared to Europe and especially compared to Italy. But since it's not just the other way of the road, it's taking some time, but we will get there.
That's all our questions. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
Well, we are halfway through the Innovation Factory grand finale, and these pitches have been great. We've got Bionics creating kid superheroes with new limbs, and we've got Angelo over here in FinApp shooting space waves at the ground and telling you how much water in it. Incredible. Really excited to hear our last two pitches. You want to introduce our next entrepreneur?
I would love to. So next up, we have an educational one. So please welcome to the stage Stimuli, and we have Taylor Sheed, who will present her company.
I'm Taylor Shedd, the founder of Stimuli. At Stimuli, we believe every learner deserves a highly engaging and deeply personalized learning experience, an experience that can and should last an entire lifetime. When you think about the applications that you depend on a daily basis, you typically think Netflix, Uber, WhatsApp, and Google Maps. Well, I want you to think Stimuli. We're on a mission to leverage AI and video games in order to educate the world and change the future. The problems that keep us up at night are the fact that there are over 250 million kids worldwide who are not enrolled in school. In America alone, 25% of our 8th graders are proficient in math, and only 18% of what they're learning is aligned to workforce needs. We have a global unemployment crisis that is largely caused by our failing education systems that has led to 435 million people being unemployed. These problems persist because society has accepted the status quo. Take, for instance, these existing platforms. They educate millions of students annually, and they earn billions of dollars doing so. And I say they jokingly look older than MySpace. They're not personalized, they're not aligned to careers, and they're certainly not engaging. On the bright side, some of them have partnered with us at Stimuli in order to change this. Stimuli is a platform that transforms learning into a video game. We ingest third-party content and align it with career pathways in order to generate personalized career pathways and immersive learning experiences. I want you to imagine for a second that all of us are learning about volume of a cylinder. But this time we're not learning it because we have to. We're learning it because we understand exactly how it applies to our career interest, whether you want to be a plastic surgeon or an astronaut. Stimuli is doing something that teachers alone cannot. We're using AI to personalize learning for every student on the planet. Let's talk about how our AI works. First, we understand kids' interests and career goals. And then we analyze the curriculum content they're supposed to learn next. And in real time, we generate immersive, personalized learning experiences that are tailored just to them. This is the future of AI, education, and video games. When you think about the impact that Stimuli has made, we've enabled thousands of low-income students to graduate high school earning $70,000 a year. 93% of the kids on our platform are reaching mastery in math, compared to 25% of our national average. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation loves our work so much that they have agreed to invest $1 million in seeing us accelerate our AI roadmap and scale our impact globally. Now, how are we going to reach every kid on the planet? Our plan to scale is by partnering with the largest content publishers in the world and bringing their content and learners onto our platform. We also collaborate with governments in order to assure regional alignments with workforce needs. Let's say, for instance, in Texas, where we're partnered with the largest tech hub in the country, training hundreds of thousands of people for the semiconductor industry. We will know we're successful at Stimuli when we've increased the quality of education and made it more accessible by reducing the cost by over 99%. Together, we can change these problems. And when we do, we will equip the next generation to understand the SDGs that they care about most and how to solve them. There are 3.3 billion gamers worldwide, and Stimuli is on a pathway to change those gamers into change makers, and change makers into wealth creators. So join us as we use AI for good to create a more sustainable future for us all.
Great. Okay, now we'll have questions from our judges.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm familiar with the Gates Foundation and some of your investors, and they're very picky, and they do a lot of due diligence, so that's a good sign. But you have to be sustainable. So what's your revenue prediction, your ARR, what is it, annual repeat revenue, what's your forecast?
Sure.
And where do you think you'll be break even, that kind of thing? Otherwise, you won't, survive, right?
Sure. So we earn $2 million on an annual reoccurring basis. We just signed an agreement that will have us scale to over 200,000 learners in the next 12 months. That's 5 million ARR at minimum. And then the next year, we'll scale to 2 million learners. So when you think about that from a revenue perspective, we go from 2 million to at minimum 5 million to 10 million the following year. And in that year, we're scheduled for a global launch, which then our revenue could be astronomical at that point.
What is your global strategy? Which regions are you addressing next?
That's a hard question because when I travel the world and I drive through low-income areas, I think about what if an app like this was sitting in every small village and home. But I do deeply care about Latin America. I care about Africa, and the rest of the world can come online next.
Are there any problems? I mean, I presume I need a smartphone at least, or do I need a laptop?
Sure. So
connectivity. So especially in Africa, in the remote areas, will that be feasible?
Yes. So we developed our platform on the Unity engine, which gives us the ability to publish to all platforms. So first and foremost, it can publish to all platforms. It's available on a web-based device. And to your point about if there's not internet access in an area, we do have offline mode. And so we'll get to an offline mode where we could, in our developers' dream world, we'd be working with Starlink to push packets to people that would download on the phones and that would update over time. And the second thing to know about our technology is AI is undergirding all of it. The video game is just how that technology expresses itself. So with the AI underneath, you can deliver the same personalized learning experience that doesn't necessarily show up in a video game with the same exact models that we've built on the back end.
Just so I want to know you need a content for education. So
Yes.
I just want to know who creates content, yourself, AI, or your partner?
That's an amazing question. Our partners create the context. So essentially, we have AI that can ingest curriculum from any curriculum partner as well as ingest live labor market data. And so we essentially can go into any region and ingest their content by the school system. And then the AI can also ingest the labor market data in order to create personalized career pathways that are relevant for kids in that region.
At this moment, how many content do you have?
That's a great question. So we have all K-12 content. And in America, K-12 is anywhere from the age of 5 to 18 years old. And so we have it across math, science, and English language arts, all of the core subjects. And the way that we will scale that is not by just using the content that we have, but by working with partners that are publishing content in all different forms with all different people and bringing their content in and aligning it across the standards.
Okay, my question is security. How are you keeping the kids safe?
That's a phenomenal question. So for those of you that don't work in the education space, for years we've been governed by something called FERPA and COPA. We're not allowed to publish education records of students, and for children under 13, you need parental consent and a lot of other consents in order to work with them. So it's in our DNA to protect and secure our kids, but now we're talking about AI and generation in real time, and so you should know that kids are never interacting directly with our large language models. And so we have our designers that are interacting directly with our large language models, and in real time, as our models generate immersive quests, there are several filters that are filtering out to make sure it's accurate from a career pathways perspective, that content is, age level appropriate. There's a lot of different filters that can be added on, and that's actually a lot of the work we're doing with the Gates Foundation is ensuring that all those measures are in place.
Okay, so there's not like other gaming platforms where you're interacting, so they're not actually directly interacting with other live people.
They're only interacting with the kids that are enrolled in their school. It's completely protected to the kids enrolled in their school. So if you think about it, at work, everybody logs in with their email address and password. Students will use the same thing that they log into their education systems in order to get into our world.
Okay, I got one more question. You said that you're designing the content depending on the career wishes of the kids. Now, I have nieces and nephews in the last years before graduating high school, and they have no clue what career path they want to pursue. How do you get them?
That's a phenomenal question. So I'll answer in two ways. The first thing is the reason they have no clue is because of that problem I mentioned where only 18% of curriculum is aligned to workforce needs. So we are simply not exposing kids in middle school and elementary school to the jobs that are possible. In our case, what we do is we understand their interests. So for me, I love to play basketball, and I had no idea that I could work for Nike as a product manager in technology. And so within the first 5 minutes of kids being on our app, we understand those interests and immediately let them know that they can work for their favorite brand. Now, the second thing is, this is very, very important. Most of the kids that we work with, if you actually ask them, what are they thinking about? They're thinking about how do they provide for their families. So oftentimes, as they've immigrated anywhere, it's because their families want them to have a quality education to do something better. Their families have gone through really hard times to even do that immigration process. And so as soon as you tell a student that I can provide you with a pathway, not just going to college and hoping it'll work out, but you know every day what you're learning in math and how it aligns to your future, it lowers anxiety and actually motivates them to want to learn, because right now we have a problem with the lack of motivation, engagement, and persistence in academia because they don't understand how it aligns to the careers of their dreams.
If there's time for one more, can you paint us a picture of the technology? Like how, because it sounds like you have a remarkable engine. So if a kid is interested in something, where does the learning come in?
Sure.
That is video game?
So I'll talk about where it is today, and I'll talk about where it'll get to over the next 3 years with our roadmap. So we're partnered with the largest online public school in the United States. They have amazing curriculum writers that are spending all of their time developing the world's best curriculum. What they lack is engagement. It looks older than MySpace, even though there's actually learning content behind it. So instead, in our platform, students get into our world and they customize their avatar. You can make an avatar that looks like every single one of us in this audience. Then you get into a world where you're interacting with other characters. And these characters could be like somebody that has a sense of humor, they're doing all sorts of fun things. And they push the kids and say, here's why you need to go learn this thing. And then the student starts engaging with the content that the provider has made. Over time, our AI will analyze what that content that they're supposed to learn is, and will say, okay, if a kid is supposed to learn addition, can we teach them that by flipping hamburgers? And how can we use this 3D world to teach them that instead of them learning through MySpace?
Okay, so that's future. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great job. Give her a round of applause. Okay, so we're almost done with our Innovation Factory grand finale pitches. I hope you're excited to hear our final pitch before judging. Will you do the honors?
Yep, thank you, Brandon. Last but by no means least, we have Nicolas Simon of Wondercraft, the exoskeleton company. Very exciting technology. Welcome to the stage.
Yep, that one.
So, hello everyone. I'm Nicolas Simon. I'm founder of Wondercraft. So I started Wondercraft 12 years ago, just after graduating from École Polytechnique, which is a French engineering school. And at that time, I don't know if you remember, but there was the first video of Boston Dynamics with an animal, no, not an animal, a robot walking on a frozen lake. And it was pushed, and it reacted like moving the leg very fast and keeping its balance. And at that time, it struck me like we have the science, we have the technology to do that. So that's what artificial intelligence is about. It's the capacity to reproduce the behavior of the brain, an animal brain. And that's where my personal stories come in. I'm from a family with a genetic disease. So my grandmother had a disease which was called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. And she had 10 children, and 7 of the 10 children had the disease, including my father, who gave it to my brother and my sisters. So 2/3 of my families have a mobility challenge, and they are using wheelchair, or they will be using wheelchair. And my thought at that time, 12 years ago, was, now that we have the technology, I want to develop them an alternative to the wheelchair, and to build them a robot, a humanoid robot that will allow them to continue walking or re-walk again. So I assembled a team of 100 people, and we worked for 12 years. And now I will show you a film that we shot last fall in Paris, where we went to do a little tour with the device in the streets.
I live in a city that vibrates with life, history, science, and projects. Projects. I have projects. To turn them into reality, I need to get out and immerse myself in the city. I need to see, sense, breathe, connect. That's what changed my life. Being able to stand or sit at will. To stride, blend with people, wander with my friends, and talk with them at eye level. 3 years back, I met Nicolas, who offered, "How would you like to stand up and go for a walk?" At first, I did not believe him. But today, I'm standing.
So how did we do that? We built the 12 degrees of freedom mechanical architecture. So it's like the leg of a humanoid robot, if you want. So you have 2 degrees in the ankle, 1 in the knee, and 3 in the hips. That's the minimum level of a number you need to balance yourself and to move around. So you can turn, you can do side steps, back steps, you can even lean forward. And then we packed the architecture with sensors. So we have first 27 sensors, so 4 sensors in the ground, inertial sensors everywhere, and position sensors. So we have data at 1,000 hertz by seconds. And we compute the data, and we compute the optimal command for the actuators every milliseconds to keep your balance, like you're doing, like a human is doing, is adapting its posture, its strength on the ground every milliseconds. And we need this reactivity to keep the balance.
That's all the time we have.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
And now we'll have questions from our judges. Anyone like to start?
I mean, it's really interesting technology, and you can clearly see that you put a lot of thinking into it and a lot of research and development. But you have to get adoption. So what's your go-to-market strategy? Who you're partnering with? What kind of adoption have you gotten, and how would that adoption scale? But ultimately, you have to be sustainable, right?
Okay.
You have to be to make a living at this thing.
Yeah. So technology is beautiful, but access to the technology is what matters most. And we had the great news coming from the USA, because this April of this year, Medicare decided to reimburse personal exoskeleton. So 70% of the wheelchair users in the US will have access to this technology. So we are launching in 2 years in the US, because if it will be the first market, because there is the reimbursement. And then the strategy is in the US, 2 million people that needs it. And if you scale, the cost goes down very fast, because in the end, it's not very complex technologies. Like I say, it's 12 bicycles, 12 electric bicycles put together. But if you produce it at scale, tens of thousands, 100,000, it goes very, very low.
Have you already completed the prototype? You have a product already?
Yes, so we had the first generation that we put on the market in 2019. It was for rehabilitation in the hospital. And that's our second generation, which is for the home market, for people to take home and in the streets. So we're really starting the clinical trials end of this year. And we hope to get the clearance next year from the FDA.
How many products did you sell for the first generation?
The first generation, we sold around 100. Yeah.
Could you speak towards your market? I don't know if I missed it, but the size of your potential target market.
So, for example, in the US, you have 370,000 people with spinal cord injuries, and 70% of them are covered by Medicare. So it's already tens of billion dollars market just with this population. Then you add the stroke people that survive strokes and are not able to walk, it's around 10%. It's adding 500,000 people in the US. And then you have all the other pathologies like multiple sclerosis, degenerative disease like in my family. And there it's go up to 2 million people in the US. Then you can scale that for the world. Basically, it's the same everywhere. So it's huge.
Any other questions?
What is the difference between the first generation and the this generation? Did you have any problem in the first generation?
So one of the main problems was to reduce the size to be very thin, because then you need to, for example, going to the toilet, you need to be not very large and not very profound, because if you want to sit on the toilet, for example, it's very important. So we had a big effort to reduce the weight, reduce the size of the device, and also make it more dynamics, because then you want, if you want to keep the stability, you need to move your leg fast. And we developed new actuators to have faster movement and more dynamics.
What is your competition? I mean, exoskeletons are around for a while and they haven't prevailed so much, I would say, for the medical people. Why will you?
So there is a third generation of exoskeleton that use crutches. And as in my family, they don't have strength in the arm. I designed the device to get rid of the crutches. So it's entirely a new world, because we're coming from humanoid robots and they were coming from orthosis, basically. So we're able to address a lot more people, because when you have crutches, it's very hard to learn to use it, because you need to synchronize your movement with the orthosis, and then you need to keep your balance with your strength. So you need to be very concentrated. So it takes a long time to learn, like 12 weeks to learn. And in our case, we are aiming for 1 week of learning.
And how compared to exoskeletons? There are companies who produce exoskeletons to help you lift hard stuff or things like that.
So we are focusing on the medical market, because we think that's the biggest one. That's where we will have the most impact. And what has changed is the decision of the Medicare, because now in the medical device world, when you don't have the reimbursement, nothing has happened. When there is reimbursement, it starts to scale very fast.
So, I mean, I remember looking at what DARPA is doing in this kind of space, or within the U.S. Veteran kind of medical system. Have you looked at their work at all, and how they're progressing in this area?
Sorry, can you say it again?
So the U.S. government, because they have so many troops out, and so they spend a considerable amount of dollars in R&D, and something similar to this, DARPA would be, for example, research in this area. Have you looked at the defense establishment and what the research they're doing in this area and how you compare?
So basically, when you're doing military exoskeletons, you're amplifying the strength of the people. And our users have no strength at all, because they are spinal cord injured. So no strength, no movements in the leg. So it's very different, because then we produce all the movement and they have to amplify the movements of their user. And another point, we worked with Veterans Affairs, which is the branch of the army that take care of the veterans. And we will be doing the clinical trial with them.
I see. So you're already doing work then with the U.S. Army Veteran Affairs for the disabled? Okay.
Time for one last quick question, if you have it.
Could you take us quickly through the AI that is driving your platform? Or
So basically, we're reproducing how the brain works. So we have a lot of sensory feedback, like the human, inertial ear, force in the ground, every position everywhere, and you need to compute and to react to this information very fast. So that's where AI is useful, because AI is the ability to handle all this information in real time and to adapt. So we have developed a brain that we put in the device and that is handling the information and outputting the right order to the muscles, our artificial muscles like actuators.
Okay, thank you. Give Nicholas a round of applause and a big round of applause to all of the entrepreneurs to pitch at the Innovation Factory Grand Finale. The Secretary General was right when he said earlier that the SDGs can be supercharged by AI. We've got superheroes, personalized learning plans, cosmic rays, transformative mobility solutions. Now, the judges have a tough decision to make. We'll give them some time to deliberate, and maybe we'll engage with the crowd a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to. So in the meantime, would our startup finalists like to come back to the stage so we can ask them a couple of questions? And the audience, if you have a question, please do raise your hand, and a microphone, I believe, will come to you. So let me start off by asking you, now, one of the UN's goals is for technology to be available for everyone, rich or poor. How do you establish that with your startup?
We establish universal availability by really looking at accessibility and efficiency. And so accessibility, again, availability on all devices and offline mode. Efficiency, we want to make sure that we are not contributing to the climate problems. And so looking at how we use compute only when necessary in order to impact our learners.
Okay, if you can pass the mic along. Same question to you.
So we try to differentiate the business model. So in low-income countries, we offer different prices, and in high-income countries where insurance are able to afford. So this is how we are going to leverage the amount of purchased to able to provide the prosthetic to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, since it's a new technology that involves a lot of R&D, it's quite difficult to make it available to everyone. But our goal basically is to invest even more money to make it more affordable, and at the same time, as every new technology, the more it is diffused, the lower it is going to cost. So that's the key point for us, to spread it as much as possible.
Okay. Now, Nicola, exoskeletons, I assume, are not cheap. So how do you enable that everyone could have access to this technology?
Yeah, so it's the same for us. We're in industry, so if we build at scale, our model is like car industry. If we build millions of exoskeletons, because there is millions of people needing them, it will cost 10 times less than a car, because there is 10 times less weight and component in it. So it's not, it's just a matter of getting the right scale.
Okay, any questions from the audience at all? Yep, we have one. Mike is coming to you.
Hey, thanks for the presentation, guys. Daniel from Danish Refugee Council. For Nicholas, maybe to elaborate on the AI again, I didn't quite understand, because the issues with people with disabilities is that the neural network from the brain to the limbs aren't working, but then you were explaining it as what I understood the sensors would pick up from parts of the body, these neural networks. But I thought the issue is that they're not functioning well. So there was a bit of a disconnect there for me.
So the sensors are in the robots. So it's the sensors of the robots. So basically, it's just like, imagine a humanoid robot, and you put some place in it to carry a human. But every stabilization is done by the robot, and nothing is done by the brain of the user. The user just have a remote and drive it like a wheelchair. And we are taking care of all that happens with the legs to keep the balance and everything. It just decides the direction and the speed.
Before the next audience question, I want everyone in the audience, please take out your phone, hold it up, snap a photo of me. I'll sign it for you later. It'll be worth something one day. Well, we'd love for you to participate in the voting. Now, our judges are deliberating, and if there's a tie, the audience vote could break that tie. So you have an opportunity to select our winner for the Innovation Factory Grand Finale. So please avail yourself of that as we continue to do questions. Okay, we'll work on that while we do the next audience question. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next audience question, if there are any. Yep. Mic is coming. We have a couple. Just in the back there.
Thank you. My question is for Taylor, and I guess my question is, what is your dream ultimately for this product and the end result, Stimuli?
Thank you for asking that question. My dream for Stimuli is that everybody on the planet would have access to this application. And the analogy I typically give is Google Maps. Anytime we want to figure out how to go somewhere, I don't know about you all, but I depend on that in order to tell me where to go. My dream would be that on a daily basis, we're all doing just one thing to increase our earning potential, and it would be available for everybody worldwide in order to help them learn their way out of poverty.
Okay, we have another question in the back there.
Thank you. My question is for robotics. How is the bionic arm actually operated? Is there some kind of neural link, or is it, as we were saying with the exoskeleton, sensors? How does it actually operate? If I'm a user of that, how do I make things move?
So basically, we use the when somebody got amputated, so they have their phantom limb, through which when they try to move their old arm, they have different movements in their muscles, and we have sensors that detect the different patterns, because each individual have a different patterns on the muscles, and that pattern is actually go towards machine learning for each individual, so that the person can able to use it effectively. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not for the moment. Finap, I have a question for you, which is, what has been the reception to your technology, and what kind of industries are you going for?
Well, actually, the industries in which we have more success is all the manager of aqueducts, because the basic idea is, again, pretty simple. If we can know the water content below the ground, even in a city, because... Sorry? Okay. Even in a city, because basically we have no interference because of buildings or cars, metal, and we just drive along a road above the pipeline of the aqueducts and we see a wet spot, there is high chance that that wet spot is made because of water leaks. And this is really a game-changing. We can pre-locate the water leaks like more than 10 times quicker and 5 times cheaper than current technology. And so in this specific case, our solution meets all the requirements, that is cheaper, quicker, and more effective. So there are no weakness point. And so in this kind of market, we have the higher request, and our technology is really, really well accepted.
Okay, great. I have a question. We have one? We have another question. Please go ahead. Oh, one moment. Just wait for sound.
Felix, how did you guys get your ideas? Like, what inspired you? Each one of you. Like, yeah.
So I think I always loved the science fiction and also my family story.
Okay, so actually there is a nice story that the same kind of technology we're able to detect like plutonium or something like this, so it was made for security, especially after 9/11. And at a certain point, there was a researcher from Germany that called us and said, have you ever thought to see for water instead of nuclear stuff? And so we switched our mind, and we thought that our knowledge could be used for sustainability and no more for safety and security. And so someone else gave us the spark to change our mind, to see the things from another point of view.
Great question. So when I was doing my mechatronics in the university, me and my co-founder received a random email from a family that they said the kid is born without an arm. Because you are robotics engineers, can you help him out? So we thought that this thing might be very commonly available. And when we first made the bionic arm for that 5-year-old boy, so we felt magical, and since 8 years we are doing it.
I had 2 aha moments before starting Stimuli. My first aha moment was I was a little kid that wanted to be a reconstructive plastic surgeon. I grew up watching Grey's Anatomy, and I thought that might be a gateway, a great way to help people. And it wasn't until I was in my college chemistry class where I realized math was going to be so important to me passing chemistry, which is going to be so important to me becoming a plastic surgeon, and I couldn't pass. And so at that point, I was devastated and wanted to make sure that nobody else followed in my footsteps, where you get to the goal that you want to reach and you're not equipped to do it. And then as far as the second aha moment, it was actually during the pandemic, because first I was focused on, like, how do I help kids understand what they need to be ready for the workforce? During the pandemic, I started seeing in virtual classrooms how bored kids were in science and math. And the leader of the largest school district we were working with came to me and said, let's do something nobody else in the world's doing. Let's build school in a video game. So it really was based upon kids being really, really bored in the current education systems.
Thank you for that question. What is your interest? Are you interested in maths and science?
Person, I like swimming and I like singing, but I'm also thinking of becoming a doctor.
Wow. So,
Please try the code again. We believe we have it working now, and would love to have your input on our finalists here at the Innovation Factory Grand Finale.
I have another question for all of you, which is, if you were to win today, what would that mean to you, and how would it change your company?
Okay. So it actually means a lot, because coming from Pakistan, where technology is not accessible for a lot of things, so making a benchmark that anybody can have and build a technology that can revolutionize the whole world, no matter where are you from. So it will not encourage ourselves, but also the whole world who wants to dream big and wants to change a world.
Also for me, for our company, will means a lot, because it's like a sign that we are on the right track. But anyway, we think that the real difference in where the people gives you the prize, that they recognize that you are doing something usable, and this is the best that we aim to.
So for us, we are currently fundraising to launch the product on the market. So we hope that if we win, it will help us find an investor.
So I have a quick question.
Last.
What this would mean to Stimuli really is about our people. We have a lot of people that work behind the scenes that don't, get to come on stage like me, and it would be a sign for them that everything that they've been doing is worth it. But the other people we think about impacting are young women and little girls. As I was growing up, I only had Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and now Sam Altman to look up to. And, I think it's about time that the world take women a little bit more seriously.
Incredible response. So I have a quick question. Nicholas, have you thought about adding a jetpack to the exoskeleton? And if so, I would volunteer to test it out.
So we have a lot of projects for the future. One is the exo for kids, because there is a lot of people asking us if it's possible for the kids. So I think the next thing we do is an exo for kids.
Okay. And the real question is, you said you're fundraising. You mentioned some of the mentors that you looked up to. I work for Shark Tank. I do casting, and a lot of entrepreneurs I meet, they want to work with Mark Cuban, or it's their dream to work with Barbara Corcoran or another shark, or if you're familiar with Dragon's Den, with one of those people. who's your dream investor or your dream business advisor? We're here at AI for Good on this global stage. Anything could happen. Who do you wish you could work with as you build your business? And we can go down the row.
I think it's very inspiring to see the big Tesla, Amazon, Google going to robotics, humanoid robotics, and so it's very promising for us because it will help us get the cost down and the technology working. So if we could partner with them, I think we will be very happy.
Yeah, that's great.
Actually, I don't know how to answer. I don't know. I have never thought to this. And to be honest, we have already passed through the process, you know, of being the due diligence, all this stuff, and it is sort of painful. And my dream is to have no more investor because we have enough revenue to grow by ourselves.
That's the dream. There you go. There you go.
So they're back probably.
If you want to answer quickly,
please continue, and we'll transition.
Yeah. So for my startup, I think Bill Gates would be the ideal advisor for us because he has worked a lot to make the medical industry accessible for everyone.
My dream organization and person to work with would be Sam Altman at OpenAI.
It's great. Well, this is the place to be for that to potentially happen. Give our entrepreneurs, our finalists here, another big round of applause. The impact that these businesses are having is truly incredible. Our judges are almost back. We'll give our last judge here a second. And would our judges like to do the honor, or would you like for us to? Yeah. Sure. Judges, please join us on the stage. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Come on. Hi. Yeah.
Am I hello? Hot? Yep. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of these incredible organizations. Can we give them one more round of applause for our participants? It was incredible to hear each of your stories, to hear what the motivation was, all the hard work that you've done. It was very difficult to figure out how to make a decision with so many incredible things. Yet, I am honored to say that okay, we're okay. I'm honored to say that we have come to the winner being Stemuli. Yes, we were impressed with your use of AI, your responsible use of AI, how it is motivated for good, because we do need children as our future to be well educated, and we hope that they can also have fun and learn at the same time. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Medal.
Okay.
We want to get everyone in for a photo. Yeah. Yes, please.
To this.
Get behind you.
Me neither.
Okay, well, congratulations to Stimuli, our winner of the 2024 Innovation Factory Grand Finale. And congrats, of course, to our other participants. All of you are building great businesses that are truly showing that AI is for good, and AI, again, can supercharge the SDGs. Thank you so much for sticking with us for our reception and pitches. Yep.
We still want to give feedback to all the other startups too, if you allow us.
Yes.
Good. Then I take over. I want to give feedback to Bionics. I think you were very, very high ranked in my, let's say, my heart, because I think it all touches us if you really help the ones who are in trouble and disabled, and we all have probably someone in our community who is affected. So, and also offering that at a good price and with AI, and they don't have to travel, no surgery. So there's so many amazing things. So congratulations, and I think you're doing a great job. We hope you continue, even so not being first here. And what was a little bit on the downside was that we couldn't really clearly see your market strategy, so your focus customer, how you want to grow. And so probably that's something you can look at into. Thank you. Congratulations to you too. And you also get your medal.
Next.
You want me to go next?
Wondercraft.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Then you do Wondercraft.
Next,
Go ahead.
you first. Just okay from me. Feedback to the Wondercraft. Yeah. Wondercraft, your solution is great. Give us some dreams to the disabled people. So that's great. But during the pitching, it's better to provide more concrete growth plan, growth strategy, and also some concrete market size. If it will be there, that's great. Yeah, congratulations for the. Okay. First I.
Microphone. You have a mic?
Oh, yeah. So I have the honor to spotlight FinApp. I just thought your tech was amazing and very unique. And in fact, I could probably help you scale. So with the relationships I have. And it was really difficult. And in fact, again, let's round of applause for all of these marvelous startups. So you definitely have a great solution, and it has adaptability around the world. We just thought that maybe if you partnered with some people to give you more of a 360 solution, and I can help you there, by the way, with the World Food Program, because we have solutions that go across the board, but you're clearly the winner in the water side, I mean, without question, right? So we think that'll help you even with greater growth and market penetration. So it was just a tiny little thing, but I thought it was great. Right?
We're waiting for it.
I take another mic.
Okay, wonderful. So these discussions will, of course, continue.
Mesdames, Messieurs, le CICG ferme ses portes. Nous allons vouloir regagner rapidement la sortie.
Okay, before we get locked in, let's close and say thank you to our judges. And everyone here, thank you, Brandon, Guillaume, and you, the audience, for being here.